Um, Hello, everybody. Thank you, John, for your introduction about Power BI. Let's start the lab one that is about access and the preparation of data. So please, everybody, uh, open the Power BI desktop app. And the first thing that we have to know before start accessing the data and preparing the data is that we need an overview about the data set that we are going to use when we are creating a report, okay? So the data set that you will use today is a sales and market share analysis. This type of analysis is very common for the office of a chief marketing officer uh, and is focused not only on company's performance internally. It is about also the comparison between the competitors, the competition. Okay. So the data is about the company Van Arsdale. Van Arsdale is a manufacturer expensive retail products that could be used for fun as well as work, and it sells them directly to consumers nationwide as well as in several other countries. Okay, so international too. Um, so let's start. Let's start a little bit. First of all, we're going to change the location of the Power BI. So just we need to confirm if we are in the right location, okay? So please select the file option in the top ribbon, and let's select options and settings. Now click on in options, and we are going to have a pop-up window that we need to select in the downside of this window the regional settings and check that we have here English United States. If you have this selected, we are okay. If we don't have this selected, please select this option and just click OK. So let's start to explore a little bit our data. We're going to start working with CSV files and Excel files. So please open the folder that you have all this data. And we are going to see two folders right here that we are going to use. The first one is international sales, and the second one is US sales. Open a little bit the US sales folder. So what we can find here is that we have two files. The first file is an Excel workbook that we have here, the BI dimensions. Open it to explore it a little bit. So what we can find here is our three dimensions. The dimensions that we are going to use on this lab or for this report are, the first one is the product that we have it in the first spreadsheet. Yeah, we can see here that we have our table is composed of uh, product ID, the product name, the category of this product, the manufacturer ID, and the price. Okay. We also can notice that we have here the title of the table, and we are going to clean this because we don't need it for analysis purposes. Okay. And also we can notice that we have here some blank spaces that we need to fill down with the category that we have on the top. Okay. The second dimension that we are going to use is the manufacturer dimension. We can notice here that in the row 7 we have something that we really don't need for analysis purposes. And also we can notice here that the rows, we are going to like pivot this table because we have the rows and we need this as the columns of our table, right? The third dimension that we are going to use is the geography dimension. Also, we can notice over here that the first two rows are not like really important for analysis purposes, so we are going to clean this data also in Power BI. Okay, so we can now close this Excel. And now we can see over here that we have a second file that shows the sales of the US in the Banarsdale company. And it is in CSV format, okay, comma separated format. We are going to explore it a little bit in the just in the tool that we're going to use is Power BI, right? The other folder that we are going to use is international sales. So as we understood before, we have for Banarsdale the sales of United States and also the international sales. So here we're going to have in this folder the complete international sales from which countries: Australia, Canada, Germany, Japan, Mexico, and Nigeria. Okay, so here we're going to use a really particular technique in Power BI that we are going to import the complete folder, and depending on the structure of the files that are in it, we can combine them and append them together, and Power BI is going to solve that alone. We're going to see that in a moment, okay? So let's go, after we explore the data, let's go to the Power BI desktop app. And we can see here some tools that we can use to access the data. So please go to the home menu and let's look at a little bit about this icon that says Get Data. Please just click on it and click in More Options. What we're going to see here is all the data sources that Power BI has available for us, okay? So we can see here that we have data sources from Excel, text, CSV files, XML, other data sources as SQL Server database, also Teradata database, Azure SQL database. So also we have cloud providers, also Redshift, right? So we can see here that we have multiple data sources that we can use for reporting purposes, okay? So for the lab purposes, the first thing that we are going to import in the data in the Power BI desktop app is the BI dimensions file that we explored before. This is an Excel file, so please click on this data source. And now just go to the path that we have the file, and please click on it and click Open. Now that we can see, here is a pop-up window that we can explore a little bit, and Power BI recognize the different spreadsheets that it has. So we have 3 spreadsheets that are symbolized with this icon. And we have also a product table that is recognized by Power BI as a table in the spreadsheet, okay? So here in the right side of this window, we can see like a preview of the data that we have there in the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so we can see here, if we click on Geo spreadsheet, we can see here the columns that we see and the rows that we saw in the exploration part, okay? And in manufacturer, we can see the rows that we have as columns, okay? So the tables that we are going to use for the lab is the first three tables: the product table, the Geo spreadsheet, and the manufacturer spreadsheet. After we select all three, yeah, we have down here three options. Yeah, the first options means that we are going to load this data without making any kind of transformation. So we are importing it into Power BI as it is right now. So we already discussed that we need to make transformations to these tables. So we are going to choose the second one. When we choose the second one, this open another window in Power BI that we are going to call Power Query, and it is Power Query. What is Power Query? Power Query is the window that we are going to use to make different transformation to the data that we are going to import into Power BI. So we can explore here different tools to do those transformations. Okay. So let's explore this Power Query window a little bit. Here in the left side of our window of Power Query, we can see the queries and the tables that we are transforming right now, right? So we have the product table, the Geo table, and the manufacturer table, right? In the middle part of the window, we can see the preview and the transformations that we are doing right now to that table. So right now we are looking the manufacturer table, and we are looking the same as we saw in the spreadsheet, right? In the left side of this window, we have the query settings. So we can see the properties of the table, the name of the table, and also the applied steps that we are going to do in different transformation through the lab. What this means? These applied steps just means that Power BI is going to save each transformation that you are going to apply or we are going to apply into each table in Power Query, okay? So we can see here that if we click in source, yeah, in the source step, we can see here that we have the different spreadsheets of the Excel workbook, okay? So we can see the second step is the navigation into the specific spreadsheet manufacturer. The next step is the promoter headers transformation. And the last step is the change type that Power BI made automatically when he just looked at the first rows of the table, okay? The top part of the window, we have the tools, and there are the tools that we are going to use to transform the different tables that we are using right now, okay? So first of all, we are going to import all the sources or all the data sources that we are going to use. So how we are going to do that? First, please select the home menu and select the option immediately down the home menu that is new source. Click over there, and now we know that we are going to import the US sales file. So we know that that file is on CSV. So please select the fourth option, that is text and CSV. And please go to the path that you have that data, that CSV file, and select it. Then click open. This is establish the connection right now. And now we can see here the pop-up window. And it is giving us some options that they can detect from the file, right? So these options are these three, right? The first one is the file origin. So Power BI can detect the file origin of that CSV file. So right now, it detects that the file origin is from Western European from Windows, but we can choose over here that it could be from the United States, but it is the same for the purpose of this lab. But the main fact here is that we can select the file origin or the kind of origin that we are using on that specific CSV file, right? The second option that we can choose here is the delimiter. So as you know, we can use in a CSV file different kind of delimiters. One of those are comma separator. The other one can be semicolon separator or pipe separator. So we can specify here which kind of delimiter we are using in that specific CSV file. As you can see, Power BI detects automatically the kind of delimiter that this CSV is using. And the last option that we can see here is that Power BI has the capability to detect the data type based on the first 200 rows, the first 200 rows of that CSV or of that data set that we are using right now. This is a really important step because, for example, if we can see over here the zip code, maybe for the US and this CSV, the zip codes are integers or are just numbers. So Power BI are going to put that data type on integer type or decimal type, right? But we need to understand that we are going to use the zip code for other countries. And maybe these other countries, the zip code of these other countries are not just numbers. Maybe they can have letters right there. So we are going to change that when we are transforming the data, okay? So just to take this into mind. So after just seeing what we have here, please click OK to load the US sales on the Power Query editor. And the last data set that we are going to import here is the folder that has all the sales from every countries. Okay, so we are going to do the same. We're going to select new source in the home menu. Now click on more data sources. And we are going to select the folder option as a data source, right? That is over here. So please select that folder option and click connect. Now we are going to see a pop-up that shows that we need to put here the path of the folder. So please click on the browser, and let's find that path. I have that path in my local C disk in the DIAD carpet or folder. Oh, I don't have it over here. I have this PC, C disk, DIAD folder, in my data folder, and now I'm going to select the international sales folder. Okay, guys. So let's click OK. And we have here already, and we need to confirm that the folder path that we are using is the correct one. After that, we can choose OK. Now we can see here that Power BI is detecting the whole files that we have there in that folder. Okay, so we are going to explore some metadata of those files. The first thing that we have here is the name of the file. So here we can confirm that we are importing all the files from that folder. So we have here the Australia.csv, Canada, Germany, Japan, Mexico, and Nigeria. Also, we can see here the extension of every files that are the CSV, that's okay. When the data were accessed and modified and created, and also the complete folder path of each CSV file. The next step that we are going to use here is combine and transform. Okay, so please select that. I'm going to explain that while this is uploading these files. So when we select that option in our Power Query Editor, we're going to see that Power BI is going to create a function that is going to follow really specific steps depending on these parameters. The first one is that Power BI is going to transform every file with a sample file that we are going to give it here. So as you can see, the sample file that we are giving to Power BI is the first file that it found over there. The first file that we have is Australia file, right? But also if you click on the list, we can see that we can tell Power BI which CSV file has to use. So for the purpose of the lab, we are going to use the first file as well, or you can select the Australia CSV file, and you can see here that Power BI is evaluating the preview, and Power BI is going to show us how it's going to treat the other files that we are going to import, okay? Also, we have here the same options that we saw in the sales CSV file. Yeah, you can select here the file region that you are going to choose or you are going to use for that specific CSV. Also the delimiter and the data type detection based on the first 200 rows. Yeah, you can tell here to Power BI to use the entire data set, but this could affect the performance and the performance of Power BI. Okay. Also, you can tell Power BI that do not detect any data types, and you are going to specify for each column in the Power Query Editor the data type for each column. Okay. So after we select the sample file, we're going to click on OK. And we are going to wait until until Power BI create the international sales complete data. We are going to have something really curious right here. As you can see, we have two folders right now that Power BI create. The first one is the one that I already told you about, the function that Power BI is going to create to make different steps, or to make the steps to read all the CSV files that we have in that specific folder based on the sample file that we gave it. Okay, so if you can see here in the parameter 1, we have here the sample file as a parameter. Okay, here we have the sample file that is the Australia CSV, and here we have the function that basically the function is the steps to read that CSV, but he is going to read that CSV. He is going to make that like read CSV a step to every file on the CSV file, on the CSV for every country. Okay, and at the end of the row, we are going to have this table or this query that have the complete data set of all the files that we imported from the folder. So please click on the first column that is called source.name and click on the list. And now please click on this option that is load more. Let's wait a little bit to load all the files that we loaded and all the sources that we loaded. And we can confirm over here that we already uploaded all the files and all the CSV files that we have in that folder. Yeah, that are the Australia.csv, Canada CSV, Germany, Japan, Mexico, and Nigeria. So if we are comfortable with the data that we are importing right there, we can continue with our process. Okay. Now the next process that we are going to do is the transformations for each table. So let's start with the first one, that is the product table. The first step that we are going to do is change the name of the table. How we are going to do that is double click on the table or right click exactly in the table and select this option, rename. Okay. We are going to call this table product or products. Okay. Okay, now we are going to just look at a little bit the columns, each column. So the first thing that we can see over here is that in the category column, we have null values under the mix category, right? So we are going to use the first transformation in Power BI, that is fill down. What Power BI do here is that he's going to fill all the nulls that we have under mix category, and Power BI is going to fill with the mix category every nulls that Power BI sees until he sees the rural category. Okay. So how we are going to do that? Please select the column category. Now go in the ribbon option, transform option, and you are going to see this option over here, right, in the middle part of the ribbon. So please select that, and we can see over here that we have two options to fill down or up, right? For this purpose, we're going to fill down because we need the mix category in all the nulls down there until it finds the rural category. As we can see here, it already filled down all the categories, but also there is something really curious that we have over here, the apply steps, that you can see that Power BI added another step, that is the fill down that we just already done, right? So this is what I was talking about, that Power BI is going to save every step that we are going to make on every transformation. Okay. Okay. Now the other thing that we can see over here in product table is here in the product column. We can see here that we have like two names separated with a pipe delimiter. Okay. I'm gonna tell you that the first part, the left part of the delimiter, it means that the name of the product. Okay. And the second part, the right side of the delimiter, is the segment of that product. Okay. So we are going to use a transformation here that is going to split this column depending on the delimiter that we are going to give to Power BI. So how we are going to do this? Again, we are going to go to the transform option or menu. We are going to select in the middle of the ribbon the split column option. And now we have here multiple options, right? We are going to split the column by a delimiter, by a number of characters, also by positions. In this case, we are going to use the delimiter because we have the pipe over here, okay? So please select that option. And we're going to have a pop-up window. This pop-up window is showing us different options. The first option is the kind of delimiter that we are going to use over here. So we have colon, comma, equal sign, semicolon, space, and tab. We cannot see here the pipe delimiter, so we are going to use a custom one. And in the blank space that we have under it, we're going to type the pipe delimiter, okay? Now, we have here like options of how Power BI is going to split at that delimiter. So we can select here that split the column, taking into account the delimiter and the leftmost position of it. Yeah, so going from the left part of the string to the right side. The second one is Power BI find this delimiter from the right side of the string to the left side. And the last one is every time Power BI sees this delimiter, he is going to split the column. Okay, so we can choose for this lab whichever option you want. I'm going to select the first one, that is the leftmost delimiter, and then click OK. Now we can see here that Power BI just put two more steps here. The first one is the split column by delimiter that we did. And also Power BI is going to try to change the data type of those two columns automatically, okay? So if you are not like comfortable with the data type that Power BI put, you can just delete that step, clicking in the X that we have in the left side of the step, okay? So we can click it just to see how to delete that step. And now we can see over here that we have two columns, right? One is about the product name, as I told you, and the second one that is called product 2 is a segment of that product. So we are going to change the column names. How to do that? We are going to double click on the name specifically of the column. And for the first one, we are going to name it product. Okay. And the second one that is named product 2, we're going to tell Power BI that that's going to be the segment. Okay. Okay. Right now, we can continue with the other transformations. The next transformation that we are going to do is in the price column. Okay. So the price column, in the price column, we can see that we have two types over here. Two types of data, sorry. The first type of data is the currency that we have for the price of each product. And the second part is the specific price of each product. So we are going to split this two, but we are going to use another option to split this. Yeah. So explore a little bit this menu of add a column. Right. So click on that menu, and we are going to have here multiple options. Yeah. We can add column here based on examples, right? That that's the one that we are going to use right now to split these columns. But also we can create another column based on a custom column. So we can use over here uh, the language, the programming language that are for Power Query Editor that is called M, and is this one over here that I am showing here in the red square. Okay. The other option that we have to add a column is invoking a function. This is a little bit more advanced, but I think this is one of the best options that Power BI has to us when we understand how to use it. Okay. The other option to add a column is the conditional column or duplicate column. So we can see over here that we have multiple options to transform the data over here or to add columns. Okay. So now please select the price column, and we are going to explore a little bit the first option of adding columns, that is column from examples. So please click over there, and we have two options over here. Yeah, we're going to create a column from all the columns or from the selection. Right now we have the price column selected, so we're going to use the second option. Okay. So let's see, here's something really interesting, that Power BI is showing us another column that it is naming column 1. Okay. The first thing that we are going to do here is click on the first row in that column 1, right? And we are going to type the number of the first row of the price column. So the name is 412.13, and just click enter. Sorry, type enter. What we can see here is that the next rows, Power BI is like interpreting based on the first row the other ones. So the thing that we need to check here is that the other rows that we have are the correct price or the correct number of the price column. Yeah. So we can see over here that we have 329.78. In the third row we have 963.38. So we can see over here that Power BI is interpreting correctly the next rows based on the example that we gave him in the first one, right? So if we have all these rows correct, yeah, we can check right now that here at the top part of the table we have the M language that we can use, for example, in the custom column to create this step, right? Now that we know that this is correct, please click in the OK button. And now we can see over here that we have that number, like that column based on the price column, right? And we have it correctly. The next thing that we are going to do is we are going to create another column from examples, but we are going to take out the currency, that is the USD. So we're going to select again the price column, select the column from examples option to add a column, and select the second one that is from the selection. Now what we are going to type over here in the first row to give Power BI as an example is just USD as a string, right? Next, click enter, or type enter, press enter, sorry. And we can see over here that Power BI recognize immediately that the next rows are also USD. So we are going to click the OK button. And now we are going to have two columns right here. The first one is the number of the price, and the second one is the currency of the price. The next step that we are going to do over here is rename those two columns also, okay? So please double click in the column name of the price number, and we are going to name this column as MSRP, okay? The other column, we are going to name it currency. Okay. Now that we have these two columns, we really don't need more this price column. So we're going to learn how to delete this column. So please, everyone select the price column, then go to the transform option. Oh no, sorry. Let's go to the home option. Yeah, and we can see here in the middle of the ribbon, right, that we have an option that is called remove columns. We're going to select that one, and we're going to remove the column that we selected. So please check that we have here two options that are remove the other columns that are unselected, or remove the columns that we selected. In this case, we're going to remove the price column, so we're going to select the first option. Now we can see over here that column is deleted already, and the last thing that we have over here is that check in the MSRP column that the data type of that column is a string. How can I know that it is a string? Because it has the ABC letters in the left side of the name of the column name. So how we are going to change the data type of that column, because we know over here that this is decimal number, right? So please click on those letters, really next to the column name, and we can see here all the data types that we have into Power BI, okay, on Power BI. So as I told you, we're going to select the first one, that is the decimal number, okay? And you can see over here that the data type that are now next to the column name is a 1.2 number, right? So this means that this column is already a decimal number. Now we need to check the same in the currency column. So we already know that this is a string, and we can see over here that it is already a string or a text, so we can let it as it is, okay? Now we can check a little bit the apply steps that we already done in our transformations, okay? So we can check, if we go a little bit back, that we removed some columns, and we can see in the middle part of the Power Query editor that Power BI show us like a kind of preview of that step that we done. So we can see, if we go back more, we can see each step, and we can see how Power BI is applying every step as an instruction that we are giving to the software, okay? With this, we already finished with the transformations to the first table, to the products table. Now let's continue to the second one, that is the Geo Table. So the first thing that we have to do here is change the name of the column. So please, as we did before, double click on that table and just rename this one as Geography, okay? Okay, after rename it, we can see here that the third row in this preview of of the table is really the names of the columns, okay? So what we have to do first is remove the first top rows, the first two top rows of this table. So that's the first transformation that we are going to use. Where we can find it, in the home menu, the first one, we're going to see in the middle part of the ribbon, we're going to see an option that is called remove rows. So please select that one. And we're going to see the first option that is the remove top row. So we are going to select that first option. And we can see over here in the pop-up the window that we can tell to Power BI how many rows we are going to remove from the top. So in this case, we know that we are going to remove the first two rows. So we're going to type 2 and then click on OK. Okay, now we can see over here that we have in the first row the names of the columns. Okay, so what we need to do next is we're going to put this first row as the headers of the columns. So how we are going to use that? So let's select the home menu, and you can see in the right side of the ribbon over here in the square, in the red square, this option that is use first row as headers. So if we click on it, we're going to see how Power BI is going to put that first row, that zip row, city row, state row as the name of the columns. Okay, and also we can see here in the apply steps that Power BI automatically put that step to change the data type of each column. Yeah, okay. But as I told you before, we know that, for example, not every zip codes are numbers or integers, right? So what we are going to do here is to change the data type of the zip column as a text data type, okay? So how are we going to do that? I'm going to repeat. So we need to select the numbers or the icons that we have in the left side of the column name. We are going to have here the multiple options of data types, and in this case we're going to select the text data type option, right? So now we have here a window that tells us, okay, do you want to replace the current step for this change data type, or we are going to add another step? Yeah, so as we already know that we don't want that Power BI keeps that zip code as number, we are going to replace the current step. All right, so please select that replace current option, and we are going to see over here that right now the step of change type 1, the zip code is type text. So we are not going to have trouble later about errors, because maybe we are going to have zip codes that are alphanumeric. So this is the perfect option when we are like handling with zip codes of multiple countries, of course. Yeah. Now we are going to explore a little bit the other columns and check if we need more transformations for this table. The city is text. Yeah, we are okay on this one, so we can pass to the other one. The state column is text too, so we are okay on this one. The region column is text too, so we are okay here. The next one is district. It is text too, so it's fine. And the last one is the country, and also is on text data type, so we are fine. Now we can see that all the transformation that we did already to this table are okay, and we can okay, so let's move on to the next table that we are going to transform. This is the manufacturer table. So we are going to we're going to repeat the steps that we made with the other tables, okay? So first we're going to change the table name. So double click on it, and we're going to name it manufacturer as well, but just with the first letter as capitalized. Yeah. Now the first thing that we can see over here is, of course, that we have our columns as rows here. Yeah, we can see that thing here. But also first we need to remove the uh, the bottom rows of the table. Yeah, because if we are going to transpose this table, we don't need these last 3 rows, right? From the 4th to the 6th. So we're going to repeat the steps that we did in geography. So let's in the home menu, we are going to select in the middle part of the ribbon the remove the remove rows, right? So click on it, and we are going to remove rows, but from the bottom this time. So please select the second option. Now we need to tell Power BI how many rows we are going to remove from our table. So we can see here that they are the last 3 rows, right? So we're going to type here 3, and let's click on the OK button. Yeah, now we can see that we don't have those last rows, and now we can transpose our table. How we're going to transpose our table? Okay, let's go to the transform menu, and immediately down the transform menu, we can see the transpose option. So let's select that option, and Power BI is going to transpose automatically all the rows and put them as columns. Now we can see over here that we have 3 columns right here. The first one, it is the manufacturer ID. I know that we have it as rows, but we are going to use the transformation that we used before, and it is they use first row as headers. But also we can see here that we have the name of the manufacturer, and also we have the logo of the manufacturer in these URLs, right? So the last transformation that we are going to do here is pass this first row as the column names. So how we're going to do that? We're going to repeat it again. We're going to go to the home menu, right? Let's go to the right side of the ribbon, and we can see here the option that use first row as headers. So just click on it, and we can see over here that we have again the next 2 steps: the promoted headers step, and also the change type that we know that Power BI always do that. So we can see over here that Power BI identified that the manufacturer ID is a number data type. That's fine. The manufacturer is a text data type or a string data type. That's also okay for us. And the logo right here is a text data type. So with these options, we are fine. With these transformations, we are fine right now. So let's move on to the final 2 tables. Okay. The next table is the sales table. The sales table from which country? USA, right? So the first thing that we are going to do again is change the table name. So double click on it and just capitalize the first letter, and let's name it the same, sales. Now we can see over here that we have 3 steps. Yeah, in the right side: the source, the promoted headers step, and the change data type step. We need to check, of course, on every column if the data type that Power BI just assigned to each column is fine for us. It is okay for us. So let's check it. So for the product ID column, we have here that the data type of it is number or integer. This is fine for us. The next one is the date. You can see here that we have the data type as a date, so we are okay here. Now we can see here, check this, that the zip code Power BI again assigning us a number, but we already know that not every countries or zip codes are integers or numbers. So we are going to change that data type as text. We're going to repeat the step of how we are going to change the data type. So let's select in the icon immediately at the left side or next to the column name. And we are going to select it as a text, right? We are going to again replace the current step because we don't need that Power BI saved that the zip code was integer, so we are going to replace it. The next one is check that the units are, of course, number data type. This is fine, and also the revenue is a decimal number. Yeah. What happens if we just select like this revenue data type as integer? Power BI is going to round all these numbers, and of course we don't want that. So please be careful of it. Now I think that we are good with the transformations that we have here. We just change the data type of the zip code column. So let's move on to the next table. The next table are international sales. We are going to let the name as it is. But we can see here that we can make some transformations, or I think maybe just two. But let's just check how many we're going to do. So the first column that we have here is the source name. Of course, for analysis purposes, we don't need the name of the CSV that we are analyzing, so we can remove this column. So please select it. Let's move to the home menu. And in the middle part of the ribbon, we are going to see the transformation that is remove column. So please select that one and select the first one. The first option that we have there, that is remove columns. And now we can see here that we don't have that column named source name. If we, for example, we are going to explore something a little bit, go to applied steps in the right side of the Power Query window and select the previous step of the removed columns step. So select that one, and we can see over here that we have the source name column. So you can see that we can confirm over here that Power BI is saving all the steps and all transformation that we are doing to our data set, right? So, okay, let's click again in the remove column step. That is the last one that we have here in the right side of our window, of our Power Query editor. And let's continue checking the other columns. So let's see the product ID column. It has the correct data type. We're fine in this case. We don't need more transformation over here. So let's see the date column. We have here that we have the correct date data type. So we are okay in this column. Now let's move on to the next one. We can see over here in this zip code column the same mistake from the other ones. Yeah, we have the data type of this column as numbers, and as we know already that this data type is not numbers, it is text, because we can, again, sorry for repeating this a lot, but this is really important for the next laboratory. So so we are going to change this and check these columns for all the tables that we have this column that the data type is text. So we are going to change it again to 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 text, but we need to change something over here. Yeah, we're going to erase that step. We're going to change that step. How we are going to delete it? We're going to go to the last step that is called change the type 1. We're going to choose or click on the X, and we are going to delete that one. Now the step that we are going to do is, please go back to the previous step that is called change type, and we are going to change the data type of that column in that specific step, right? So let's click in the change type step again, and now select the zip code column. Now click on the icon next to the column name and change it to text data type. Yeah. What we are going to do here is insert the data step there. Yeah, before the removed columns step, and now we are going to again replace the current step. Why we do this? Because as I told you before, we need that Power BI doesn't save the zip code column as an integer, because we are going to have errors in the next labs. So we need to be in that specific step of change type, and in that step change the data type of that column, that zip code column, and select the replace current step. Yeah, we can see right now that we have this column as a text data type. Sorry. And let's continue. Let's move on to the next step, the one that we have removed, that is named removed columns. We can stick over there, and let's continue checking the next data types, yeah, of each column. So the next one is units. They are numbers, so they are okay right now. It is okay right now. The next one is revenue. It is decimal number, so it is okay again. And the last one is country, and it is text, so we are fine here too. Okay, so right now we completed all the transformations for all the tables or all the queries that we are going to use for the next laboratory. But before uploading into the report view of the Power BI, we're going to do something really important right here, and is that we right now have two tables of sales. One of those are the sales column, the sales table, sorry, that are for the USA country, and the international sales that are for the other countries. What we are going to do here is combine these two tables before uploading it. Okay, so why we're going to do this? Because for modeling lab, it's easier to relate these first three tables to one sales table than to relate to two tables, and also because this is a good practice that we may have just one table as our sales, of course, identifying which sales are for which country. Okay. So the option that we are going to use here is first. So let's move on to the next transformations. So please select the sales table, the table that has the USA sales, and in the home menu, we are going to go to the right side of the ribbon, and we are going to select this option, the combine option. Here we are going to see two options. Yeah. The two options that we have here is merge queries and append queries. What we need here is append queries. What is append queries? Is add one query under the query that we have selected already, or the table that we have selected. Okay, so please select that append queries, drop down the menu, and we are not going to use the second option, that is append queries, as a new query, because we're going to append in the selected query that we have. Okay, so select the first option, and we have this pop-up that give us some options. Which are those options? We can append two tables, or we can append 3 or more tables. Yeah, okay. So the only table that we are going to append to the sales table is the international sales table. So let's drop down this list menu, and now we have over here all the tables that we have in the left side of the Power Query editor, but we are going to select just this international sales table. Immediately we are going to check if, of course, the international tables is already selected, and now click on the OK button. Now we can see here in the right side of the applied steps menu that we have the step append query, right? So if you go to the right side of the table in sales, we have a new column right here that is called country, okay? But we have something really interesting over here, that for our sales from USA, in the country column, we have nulls. Why? Because if we remember, we don't have that country column on that table, right? So if we choose, or if we drop down that column, right, and you select the load more option, we can check over here that we have the different countries except USA. So what we are going to do is replace those nulls with an USA string or USA text, just to identify that those sales are from USA. Yeah, we all, of course, we shouldn't like lose those sales, or we shouldn't lose that those sales are from a specific country, USA. Yeah, so we can check over here that we have all countries except USA, right? So how we are going to replace those nulls as USA? We are going to use another option, not the replace option. We're going to add another column as a conditional column, just to understand how this conditional column works, or this transformation works. So please select the add column menu, and under it we're going to see the conditional column option. So please select that option, and we are going to have a pop-up window that is going to show us like the conditional that we are going to use, right? So the condition that of course we can change the name of the column right here, but for right now we're going to let it as custom name. And now in this part of the window, we are going to fill here the condition that we are going to use. So what is the condition that we are going to use? Is if the column name is called country, is country, sorry. The operator that we are going to use is, of course, equals. So when column name country is equals to null, we are going to tap here in the value option null. Then the output is going to be USA. So what we are telling here to Power BI is, when the column country is equal to null, please name that custom column as USA. Else, what we need is the same name of that country column. Okay, so in the else option, we can select here in the drop-down menu of the ABC and 1 through 3 icon. We are going to see here that we have 3 options over here. So the option that we're going to select is the select a column option, and we're going to drop down over here and select the country column. Okay, so let's do a recap of this condition. So if the country column is equals to null, we're going to like update that null as USA string. If not, if it is not null, please use the same value as the country column value that has in that moment. Okay. So of course, for example, in the Australia, when Power BI is doing the condition, when it finds Australia as the specific value in the custom column that we are creating, Power BI is going to put Australia, is not going to put USA. All right. So after we have this condition, let's click in the OK button. And we are going to have our custom column name, and we can check that the nulls are now USA. And you can check, of course, in the drop down menu, clicking in the load more option. Now we are not able to see the null values, and we are going to see USA and the other countries. Okay. So let's wait here a little bit until Power BI load all the names of the custom column to check if we don't have here null values. Okay. This is really cool, this option, because I know that this conditional column solve a lot of our problems and is really easy to use, and this transformation is really easy to use. So here we can check right now that we have all the countries okay, and we don't have null values. So we can now check that if we really, or just ask to ourselves if we really need this country column. Right now we don't need it, so we can delete this column or remove this column. So we are going to repeat that transformation that we did before, that is remove columns. So please select that country column and go to the home menu. And now we are going to select the remove columns option that is located in the middle part of the ribbon. Okay, and select the first option. Now we remove that country column. So we are going to rename that custom column as that country column. Okay. So please double click on custom column name and just rename it as country. Yeah. Now the last thing that we have to do over here is just check the data types of all columns. We already did for other columns except country. So we just have to change the data type of this last column that we created as a conditional column. So let's click on the icon next to the column name and select text. Text as a data type of this column. All right. Now that we have all our sales, or US sales, and also international sales in one table, we need to tell to Power BI that please doesn't upload the international sales query for our report view in the Power BI. So how we are going to do that? So please select the international sales table. Just right click on it, and we are going to see a check on the fifth option that is called enable load. So we are going to uncheck that option. Yeah. And how we can check that international sales table is not like is not going to load in the report view window of the Power BI. Because the name of the column of the table, excuse me, the name of the table is in cursive right now. Okay, so here we can confirm that this table is not going to load, but of course we need it to refresh. So that's why if you right click again, we can see that the check option, the including report refresh, is enabled, and the enable load is not enabled. So we're not like load that table, but we have that data in our sales table. So we are going to load it, but not in that specific international sales table, right? Um, Now the last thing that we are going to learn in our transformations is to create a filter based on the date. Okay, so please go to the sales table and select the date column, right? Now, if we right click on that date column, we can see multiple transformations that we can do here, right? So let me see if, oh yeah, no, I'm wrong. Uh, the option is not right clicking, just select the drop down menu that we have in the right side of the column name. Yeah, and we have here this window. Okay, so we can see over here uh, that we have an option that is called date filters, right? So please click on that date filters, and we are going to see multiple options of filters that we can do to this table. So we are going to load the data of the last 3 years um, of sales. So we have data since 2012 until 2019, if I'm not wrong, or 2020. So the option that we can use over here is in the previews, right? So we are going to select that option, or to click that option, and we are going to see a pop-up window that is going to give us different kind of options. So what we are going to say is, okay, Power BI, please keep the rows where the date is in the previous 3. And we can see over here that Power BI is saying, okay, you're going to load the just 3 days of data based on the date column, but now we are going to load the last 3 years. So please drop down that list, and we are going to select the first option, that is the years one, right? So please be sure that we have these options, yeah, these filters, that we are going to keep the rows where date are in the previous 3 years. Yeah. After check this, please click on the OK button, and we are going to see the apply step that.
Okay, so let's see the last part. We can see here in the apply steps that Power BI added that filter rows step. We can check also, we can check here also that if we click on this icon in the left side, in the right side of the step, of this specific filter rows step, sorry, you can see that we can edit here that specific step. So on every step that you have that icon available, you can edit that step, right? So let's click on cancel, and now we're going to check this last tool that have Power BI that is really really interesting, and is the connections between all the tables that we have over here. So please click on this view menu. Click in the middle side, in the middle part of the ribbon, on the option that is called query dependencies, and this is what Power BI shows to us. So what we can see over here is all the connections that we have on our transformations, right? So let me zoom it a little bit. So we can see that this path that are the folder of international sales, sorry, not the folder of international sales, this is the path of the Excel BI dimensions. So we can see that this path is connected directly to these three tables that are our products, geography, and manufacturer tables. This is really, really cool. And also, if we move a little bit to the left side, we can see over here that the folder of international sales is connected to the sample file that we give to Power BI to create that function to like loop on all those CSV files for every country. The the parameter that is related to that sample file and that function, the transform file, and the final table that it created to from that function. Yeah. Also, we can see that we have here the path of that specific USA files or USA sales, sorry, and the sales table, right? But also we can check that the international sales table is append or combined with sales table. That's why we have this relation over here. Okay, so this perspective is really, really interesting, or this layout is really interesting because we can see how our data sources and all the tables that we have in our Power Query editor are related between each other, right? So let's click on the close button, and we are going to load all these data and all these tables into our report view Power BI desktop. Okay, so how are we going to do that? We are going to go to the home menu, and let's click on the close and apply option in the left side of the ribbon. What we are going to see over here is that Power BI is going to start loading all the data, applying all the changes and all the transformation that we did to that data sources. Here we can see that Power BI is creating automatically a connection or creating a model, and now the Power BI is loading the data to that specific model that it is creating. Also, we can see that how many bytes Power BI is loading to the report view. And with this final loading, we are going to finish the lab number one. The last thing that we are going to use after this loading is just save the Power BI file. So let's wait a couple of minutes right here to save the file. Oh my god, I think I'm going to cut this part of the video. Too much time. Yeah. Okay, what? Yeah, parameters, parameters, parameters. Let's append. Okay, okay, gotcha. Let me finish and continue. Okay, one, two, three. So now that Power BI already loaded all the data, let's go to and proceed to save it. So in the file option in the top side of the ribbon, let's click on that menu and click on Save As. Okay, and we're going to save it on the DIAD folder that we have for of all the data that we have all the data over here. So let me check. Let me select it. Yeah, we have on the C disk DIAD folder, and let's go to the reports folder. Or if you don't have one, create one reports folder. And right here, we're going to name this Power BI file as my first Power BI model. Let's click on save. And with this, we finish with the first lab. So thank you everybody. Sorry for attending this lab. And let's continue. And let's proceed. Sorry, to the second lab with uh, my coworker Robert. Thank you.